Hello everyone and welcome to the Ukulele on the Ground podcast. My name is Aldrin Guerrero, joined by these two fine gentlemen, Mr. Aaron the Voice Nakamura. Say what's up, Aaron.
What's up?
And Mr. Kahai the Legend Fergan. Say what's up, Kahai.
What's up?
It's Thursday, 1 p.m. That means it's time for the Ukulele on the Ground podcast. This is where we answer any and all of your ukulele questions, or just questions in general. Whatever you guys got to ask us, ask away. If we know it, we'll give you the answer. If not, then we're sorry. We don't know everything. We don't claim to, right, Kahai?
Yeah.
Right, but there's three of us here. Chances of us kind of knowing a little bit about what you're asking, pretty good. I think, as long as it's like ukulele related, I think we know a good amount, right?
I was like when we get questions and it's like, do you know what this is about? It's like, nope. Do you know what this is about? Nope. Oh, guess we'll just wait for when Mike comes back.
Yeah, I gotta talk to Mike, and by next week I'll have an update on when Mike Oda will be back. Okay, so just hang on to your hats, everyone.
Hang on to your music theory questions.
Yeah, music theory questions will be answered as soon as we get Mike back. I mean, I could answer basic ones and stuff, but it's always nice, and I guess I could answer a bunch, but it's always nice when Mike answers it because he gives like full details, like of the answer.
He's confident about it.
Yeah, I'm just like, I think it's this. I think it's talking about that. Tritones or this or whatever. Like polyrhythms and whatnot.
It makes sense. The tri, so three tone. Yeah, okay, yeah.
So that's So I'll get an update by next week of when Mike will be here. Yeah. Also, let's see. We have a brand new lesson that went up last week. If you haven't checked it out yet, go ahead and go do so. It's, I'll be leaving in Blue Darling, so make sure you check that out. Kahai, what about the U Plus Solo soundtrack?
Yeah, it'll come out.
It'll come out. Don't worry. Kahai's good for it. So like it's we got a fun one. We got a fun one this month. Yeah, I just remember what it was. It's cool. That's fun.
Yeah,
it's a fun one. Yeah, it's not too hard, not too easy.
Not too hard.
Too hard. You can make it hard. I guess like all the UU Plus solos that we've been kind of doing, it's like you can make it hard if you want to make it hard. Or you can just take it nice and slow and nice and easy, right, Kahai?
Yeah. This one,
just the animating of the not too hard.
No. I'm talking about like the actual like playing, because a bunch of people have have been working on the recent like UU Plus solos when we're doing like the private lessons and stuff, and a lot of them have it down, and they're like, oh, what else can I do with this? I'm like, that's awesome that you want to take it further than that, which is really cool. Or just some people are like, I just started learning this, and that's usually the harder ones. Like when people come up and say like, oh, I just started doing this like 2-3 days ago, and they have something. It's like, man, that sounds pretty good. I do have little bits of advice, but it's more like, it's kind of tough to judge and give advice to somebody who's only been working on it for a few days. It's like, I don't want to tell you something so obvious that like, oh, maybe if you just played it slower or what, you know what I mean? I don't want it to be some kind of generic advice like, oh, just play it slower, or just separate this, or just zoom into that, or whatever. Just play one phrase like over and over. But
although that's sometimes what people need.
Yeah, and I do say it, but for the most part, like they just started learning it, and I'm like, that sounds pretty good so far. Just I think if you work on it for the next like 4 or 5 more days or whatever, it sounds good. But yeah, it's always a tough call where I'm like, do I tell them about this? Because I think they know, but maybe just as a reminder. But it's been really good. So you guys have been doing a great job. All the people that I've been seeing, all the people that have been trying. Beautiful Koi is a famous one that people have been kind of trying out. It's a popular one that like that people have liked recently. Yeah, I mean, Every Day was a good one, and people are still hitting me up for Vincent, which is cool, because I thought that was like a throwaway one. Not saying that like, I guess we'll just teach this. It's like, I like this song, but I don't know who else likes this song. And I'm like, apparently a lot of people like that song.
Yeah. When you told me about it, you're like, oh yeah, it's this song. I'm like, okay, I'll look it up. I'll check it out later.
But yeah, so let's get started, Kahai. Give me the first question of the day, buddy.
Yeah. So last week, this is a question that we couldn't get to. It was asked right at the end of the podcast.
Yeah.
Renee asked, how often do you change your set list?
How often? Oh, very good question. Like never, I think. How often?
Every time.
And every time. Every week will be different, but it's It depends, okay? If how long your set is. So for example, if you have a 1 hour set, if you have a 2 hour set, there's so much room for play, of like, okay, well maybe this will be my first song and this will be my last song. And this maybe is my middle song. Everything else in between those first, middle, and last can be either rearranged or some can be swapped out for different things. Excuse me, and that happens like, every gig. We play weekly, so for us it changes kind of weekly, but we have a good idea of what we're gonna open with, maybe the first even 2 or 3 songs, but from there it's like gauge it with the audience what they want. But as far as like core songs in a set list, that's it's tough because once you got a formula down, like I don't know, I just go with the winning formula, I guess, like people like this. But I get you though, because I want to add new things, I want to try new stuff, but in order for that new song to kind of hit its stride or find a way to play it so that the audience can enjoy it as much as we do, because sometimes if it's new, then people are like, oh, it's pretty good, or like it's just lacking stuff still because it's fairly new. So like the point of swapping that out with something else that works is always kind of tough. But in this case, how often, going back to the original question, I will swap out maybe like 2 or 3 songs like once a year, maybe, right? That's maybe once a year, or maybe at least 1-2 songs a year. And that's as much as I change up my set list as far as like core songs. So I think...
And then between every gig, it's always a little different.
Yeah, a little bit different.
It's always from our, like, I guess our archive of songs that we can pull off live.
So it's, we... like I mentioned, we all always start out with the same like 2-3 songs and stuff, unless something happens in the audience, like, and we'll play something different, but pretty rare. But we'll sneak in a new song in there or 2. But for the most part of adding like a big song that's that's gonna become a staple part of the set list is maybe once or twice a year. Like it's not, I don't know, it's not often. Especially, and it's tough because we play on a weekly, so, and there's a lot of people that come all the time, so they're forced to hear the same set. But that's also the reason why they came back, because they kind of like the set and they like knowing.
They also ask for the same songs.
Yeah, so you know what I mean. Like I've been playing Europa since I was in high school. I've been playing body surfing since I was in high school, and I'm still playing body surfing because that's like what people like. You know what I mean? People like Europa. They're like, oh, play that Santana song or whatever. They don't even know it by name, but they just know the song.
Yeah. Although body surfing less so.
Yeah,
we haven't been playing that much.
Yeah, maybe once every 3 weeks, every 2 or 3 weeks we'll play that song. But we played Bandito Tana last night, which is is nice and refreshing because we normally play Senor Victor, so it's one of those things that you can swap stuff out. But to give you an example, we some of the new staples that we added, of course, like Purple Rain is now a staple in our set list, and also like Benny and the Jets, although we haven't played it lately, like Benny and the Jets is another one because we knew that like, okay, this song is gonna, people like Elton John, people like that, like that big kind of very like exciting kind of tunes like Purple Rain and Benny. So those I think came within a year of each other. Like I put Purple Rain in, and then like a year later, that's when we put like Benny and the Jets in. But we'll like put small stuff in, but like big ones, big changes to the core songs, maybe once a year or every other year. Not often. Yeah, not often. What do you think, Aaron?
Yeah, and then it usually starts off with like us trying it out. Like we'll add it into the set, see how it goes. Yeah, and then and it definitely doesn't have the power that it eventually has.
Not the first one.
But
both those songs are so rough in the beginning. So rough.
But we just try it out and see, and then see what you could add to it or take away from it or toss out altogether. Like sometimes we played a song and then we've never played it ever again. Right?
Kind of like last week we tried The Way. That was fun.
Yeah.
Like, but this week we didn't play it. I wanted to play it last time, but I couldn't find the pocket of where to play it. That's always like the tricky part for me. You know what I mean? Like if people are into it, then I don't want to add something new that disrupts the flow.
Yeah, and then that's true too, because like we discussed last week about crafting your set.
Yeah.
So you kind of like, if you're gonna add a song, you have to also kind of know like the timing within your set that you would add that song.
Yeah, where that song belongs. In the flow of like of your
set. So
it's tough, and I do want to play it more so that we can get like an arrangement. Like it's always kind of cool because the arrangement evolves not at practice, because we never practice, but it evolves at the show. I always try to pay attention which part gets people excited, you know, like or like, okay, there's a change here, or there's a quick change there, or here's like, I'm gonna hit you with a chorus. Do you like the chorus? Is the chorus catchy enough? Maybe if I play it like this, or maybe if I sing it like that, then like that's what we'll capture. So it's a work in progress. But big changes to the set maybe once or twice a year. Okay, small changes to the set, constant, like every week. If you want a short answer to that question, that's how I do it anyway. But feel it out. Like if there's shows that I've been to, like I've been to like 311 shows, and 311 is one of my favorite bands, and it's like they play the same set, maybe one or two new songs, although they have like new albums all the time, but they know what people want to hear. Like they'll definitely play Amber, or they'll play Beautiful Disaster, and it's like, that's why I'm here. That's what I'm here for. As an audience member, I'm like, yes, play me songs that I know. But one or two new ones. So kind of like how we do, we're like we'll play the hits and stuff, but like one or two will like sneak in something new every now and then. So.
Yeah, and then as far as because you use the term set list, as far as like an official set list, we pretty much never have one.
Yeah, no. Unless it's like. And not even, because like I was gonna say, unless it's like, okay, guys have like 5 songs or whatever, like it's a big show where it's like, here's your 5 songs. Like for example, not this coming weekend, but the next weekend is the Ukulele Festival of Hawaii. So because of the Ukulele Festival of Hawaii, they're like tight on time. We have like so many minutes and stuff. That's not the time to be like, okay, well, we'll just wing it the day of or whatever. Like, no, I've decided which songs to fill in. I think we have 8 minutes or something.
10 minutes,
like 8 or 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So we, I've kind of decided. So now, like, I have a set list and I know exactly which 2 songs we're playing. But there are some where it's like, you guys have a 5-song set list. It'd be like 30 minutes or something. Say we have like a 30-minute set. That is a little bit more like, okay, cool. So we'll do this, and this. Okay, Aaron, you got it?
Like, and then it never happens that way.
It does sometimes. Like when we played like San Francisco Ukulele Festival, that's like a 30 to 45 minute set. So I'm like, okay, cool. So we'll hit this, and this. Although the last one I didn't do that. Like we wrote a set list, but I think I took one out because something, either like I couldn't hit the note. I felt like I couldn't hit the note, so I went with something safe. And then we replaced them, but not often. So if it's like a 5-song set list, it's usually like, okay, here's the songs that we're gonna play, Aaron, just so that transitions are smoother. Because if it's like off the cuff, where like we're just we're doing it on stage, there is a slight pause that I don't like, because we're trying to think of the songs, or I'm trying to convey to Aaron like what song is about to come next. So there is, even though if it lasts like 2 or 3 seconds only, I'd rather still have it like, okay, that last song was done, get right into it.
Yeah. If it's supposed to be a tight set.
Yeah, like a tight set. So, but if it's like a 45-hour set, then that allows me to like talk with the audience and stuff. I mean, that's how Aaron knows what song is coming up next. It's like, depending on what I'm going to say about the song that we're about to play next, then Aaron's like, oh, I guess we're playing that.
Yeah.
Because I don't even look at him.
Or it's like, his banter like pre-song usually means that we're gonna play one of 2 songs, and I have to guess which one it is. Just be ready for whatever it is.
So like use your best judgment, but I think so going to specifically you, Renee, since you're relatively new to kind of to performing and stuff, I know it's tempting to like to go out because you're like, oh, the audience deserves to hear something new or whatever. But I think it's take this time to really cement the songs that you're playing right now, to sharpen those songs, and so that the audience kind of knows where where the parts to clap at, or the parts to ooh and ah at, or to which parts of your set that people can kind of relax and breathe, and which parts of your set that people can stand up and clap and stuff. Just take this time to really get it down. So don't think too much about okay, well, they heard all this stuff last week, so maybe I'll play something new. Don't worry about it, because sometimes people are sometimes people come back and be like, oh, there was this uke player last week who played this song. You gotta hear it. It's awesome. And then you don't play it, and they're like, oh, well, maybe next week. And then you don't play it again the following week, and they're like, okay, well, never mind then.
Yeah.
So don't worry about repeating stuff. Maybe if you really want to freshen it up, maybe one song swap out with with another song. Maybe one song that didn't quite work that well last week. Maybe do something else, but try to give them some, because I know you're playing at the same place. So if you're playing at the same place, it's good to have some staple songs, because we've been playing at the place that we play at for over 10 years now, and we're still playing a lot of the same stuff, because that's what people come down to listen to. They're like, there's this ukulele player guy who plays a really mean Carlos Santana song, and if they go and we don't play Europa, they're like, oh, well, he did play a mean Santana song. So the person who brought their friend along, they're gonna have to explain to their friend why we didn't play Santana, and then they come up and I really wanted to hear Santana. I'm like, I know, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I failed. But yeah, don't worry about it. Really hone down your 3-song set list, or a 30-minute set list, or 45-minute set list, whatever it may be. And don't worry about repeating stuff, because it is nice for the audience to be familiar with your set, because it's not just for you, it's for the audience too. Yeah, it's kind of think about it as putting in a mixed CD, or a playlist for all of you, you young kids now with your Spotify playlist that that you already like. What song is coming up next. What song is skippable. What song is is a must listen to. Which are bathroom break songs and stuff. And we all need those, you know what I mean? We have bathroom break songs, it's fine. It doesn't always have to be all bangers all the time, I would lose an arm.
Yeah, I remember there was one gig that we did, because we were on tour. It was probably in California, and I remember, because I know that a lot of performers do use a set list, an actual physical list of songs, and they usually put it on the ground next to their microphone stand, just so that everybody knows, everybody's kind of on the same page. Yeah. And I remember there was a kid that came up to you after the show, and he was like, can you sign your set list for me, or can I have your set list? Yeah. And then we were like, I can sign something else, but
you could see his mind blow, what? How do you just not have a set list?
Yeah. You mean you don't plan this out?
Do you jump off planes with a parachute? Not me, baby.
We just pray.
I just go, and then the tandem guy comes in, and he catches me. That makes you feel alive. He's coming. He's gonna grab me sooner or later. No, it's actually cool, because relying on a set list is fine, because it's organized, and you know what's coming up next, and it's a tight set and stuff. But we are the furthest away from professional musicians as that you can imagine. We're really backyard music makers. And I don't even know if we should use the word musician, because it might be offensive to real musicians. Noisemakers that somehow got lucky. But I think that's part of the charm, is we are just backyard noisemakers, that it gives people that vibe of I want to listen to this, because this is what I would hear in a barbecue or whatever.
And they're just having fun.
Yeah, they're having fun. We like to bring that energy, and I think in that sense, it makes it kind of unique. People have been looking for that secret sauce and stuff. The secret sauce is just being yourself. really. I know it sounds super cliche, but just be yourself. So for you, Renee, like whatever you like playing at home, get people to like that, because that's you. That's your personality, and that's your music, or that's the songs that you like to listen to, or you like to play with your ukulele, and that definitely is gonna come across to the audience.
Yeah. I was thinking last week even too, right? Because like we were talking about like how you wanna connect with the audience, and I think for most people that is true, right? But then that is another thing to consider is like what is your goal of success, right? Because if it's like, oh, I want to connect with the audience, I want the audience to be engaged, and I want them to have a good time, then you probably do need to like pick songs that is like, well, like I know they'll know this song and they can connect with this song and stuff like that. But if not, if you're just like, I just perform for myself, then it's like, if you don't care that nobody's gonna clap or nobody's gonna respond to you, then you can play like the most like niche song that nobody has ever heard before, and it's like, oh yeah, this is a Tibetan throat song that I'm gonna do for you.
Yeah, I mean, like who knew Europa before like a bunch of ukulele players started playing it? Other than like guitar players or like hardcore Carlos Santana fans. You know what I mean? It's not like you're in a car, like, oh, what you should put on is Europa. Or, you know what I mean? Like it's not something that people like gravitate to normally. So it's just play it. Like I played it because I heard it in a Pure Heart CD, and I'm like, this is awesome. And my dad's like, you should play that. I'm like, I definitely want to play that. And it made people interested and stuff. So it's just putting my own personality to it. And I know it's not unique to me, and so because growing a lot of other ukulele players in Hawaii heard that same album, they're like, this Europa thing is pretty good. So you got people like Chris Fuchigami play it, like Kale, sometimes plays that song, and he plays it with Iron Mango, like with John and Lopaka, who was on that Pure Heart album, which is cool. I'm jelly about, no, nothing, whatever. Just I'm kind of just jealous. That's all, that he gets to play with John and Lopaka, but no big deal. Whatever, Kale. But Kale, if you're ever sick or whatever, you can't do a gig, just think about your homeboy.
Time for a phosphorus papaya.
Because like I can I'll put on I can shave my head and stuff, make that flat top, get my J glasses on, so like an oversized Aloha shirt, come in like old 1999 Jake Shimabukuro. You know what I mean? It's cool. I got my and get my old Kamaka ukulele out of the closets, and be the Iron Mango. But it's cool. That's a trip. Like I talk to Kale about it, every chance I get, and stuff like, what's that like being an Iron Man and playing with these with these guys that we looked up to? He's like, and for him it's still kind of surreal,
Yeah,
so
of course.
I'm like, that's awesome. That's awesome. I'm pretty jealous. That's cool. It's cool. But yeah, God, next question.
Jim said, how about some comments about what you think is needed for an opening song? I find that the same song helps if you are in a new environment seeking sound balance.
Yeah, if we talked about this last week, where like the first song for me is like it is kind of a sound check song. So that's usually how I break the ice. Something something catchy, something not necessarily sing along, because who knows that song? Like nobody knows How Can I Get Over, but at the end of the song, because the chorus literally goes like, I wanna know, na na da da, how can I get over? Like anyone can, like that. By the second time I sing that chorus, you're like, I know how this goes. This is this is gonna be good. So it doesn't even have to be. And I know I laid out the rules last week of like have it be like recognizable or whatever. But it also should be catchy. It doesn't always have to be recognizable, but it does have to be kind of catchy, because that first song has to make a hit, or at least grab the audience's attention, for me anyway. So good elements to an opening song: catchy, familiar if possible, something that gives a sneak peek at your personality or how the rest of the set is going to be. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to explain that, but I guess try to interpret that however you think, however you think it's interpreted. But yeah, like give a sneak peek to what the rest of the set is gonna sound like, or is gonna, it's gonna look like, or whatever it may be. That first song, very, very, very crucial. So great question, because that's a make or break thing, like if people are not into it, I mean, you can still get them in like the next few songs and stuff, but it's very important to get as much people on your side by the first song. What about you?
Yeah.
What makes a good first song?
We do have like a sound check song.
Yeah.
And then we have like
a regular first song. Yeah.
So the proper first song is more like that recognizable, like people are gonna sing along to it, or at least tap their foot and sway to whatever the melody. So yeah, I mean, all of those things.
Yeah. Kahai, what about you? What's on your set list? What's your first song?
I just cross off every song with under on it. I hate any song with under.
Aw, you don't like Red Hot Chili Peppers?
No.
I don't want to be under no bridges. I don't want to be under no boardwalks.
Snow is okay. Can do that. But no, I don't want no unders. Get out of here.
How about rainbows? No, anything
overs, all the overs.
Over rainbows. Do you like over rainbows?
They're better, but not favorable. I want to be just in the middle, like Jimmy Eat World, the middle.
Yeah,
that's where
it's always tough. I love that song, but it's just it's so, especially here in Hawaii and stuff. Like I always tell people, like, throw a rock and you're gonna hear someone going. And it's nice. It's a cool song, and it's great that like a lot of people playing it. But that's the thing. It's just like, you come to us, like if that's what you're hearing, where like it's not really showcasing what we can do. It's just, but it is familiar, so people ask for it and stuff. But it's like, dude, you don't want to hear anything else, because like we can do seriously anything else that you probably never heard, or you probably don't hear often, because you're gonna go to a different restaurant tomorrow and you're gonna see somebody play it, probably sing it better than we do. So maybe even play it better than I do. Who knows? Depends on the restaurant that you're going to. If you're watching us, or then you go to like a restaurant where like Ola is playing and he plays that song for you on his guitar and his singing voice, and it's like, yeah, it's way better. So love that song. I have a love-hate relationship with it. It's just like, not too keen on playing it in public, but I do like it. So don't get me wrong. I don't hate the song.
Because there is a guy. It's about making videos, but I kind of feel like the advice kind of helps in the same situation.
You guys know a thing or two about making videos, right?
Yeah. Well, it's more about like, he said, like, you'll always see comments of like, hey, you should do this. You should do this like this other person, exactly like this other person. And it's kind of like, if I do it like that person, then it's just that same video that person did.
I'll just re-upload their video.
why would, so it's like, and it's not their fault either, right? Like that's all they can imagine is they like see like, oh, I like your thing, but I know this song, so I want you to do this song. And it's like, oh, you don't, let me show you the other songs that I can do. Right? Like, so it is just like people kind of probably saying whatever like first comes to mind, like
whatever they're familiar with.
Like, oh, I really like that. I'm in Hawaii, the song I know from Hawaii is Somewhere Over the Rainbow, so like I want you guys to do it.
I got married to it, and we're like, well, I walked down the aisle to that song, so I want to hear it. There's like always some kind of thing attached to the request, but
but we don't want to ruin that for you.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Like, now you're gonna have this image of you walking down and like this ukulele player just like rocking out, and like it's just not,
I'm sure people would be like too, like, oh, you guys did a great job, right? But then it's like, instead of just showing you like this song that you'll probably hear at other restaurants, or even, I mean, if you really want the best version, just listen to Is, right? Like that's pretty much it. But like, we'll show you something else, something else that might become your new favorite memory from now on, right? Instead of like relying on just like, oh yeah, this is what you know us for. So.
But also, you know, play what you like. So I mean, even if it's like a video thing where someone's like, oh, you should play this or whatever, if that interests you, go do it. Like if you you know, you're like, oh yeah, that might be something kind of cool, something I want to try. But if it's like, but if it doesn't even like register to, you know, like, oh, I don't know if I even like that or whatever, don't do it. Like I mean, throughout my, you know, decades of playing music in front of people, I mean, maybe on the weekly, like people are like, oh, you know what you should play, or you know what you should do. I'm like, yep, I should definitely get on. I should listen to it or something, or I don't know. But you know, like if it doesn't, I'm not gonna be rude about it. I'm like, no, I'm not playing that or whatever. I'm like, I'll check it out and stuff. And I might, you know, I might check it out. Most likely, I check it out, but you know, would I play it? Not really. Like very, very, very low percentage. Unless I already kind of know it. I'm like, oh man, that might work. You know. You know what I've been thinking lately? I want to do Rodeo Clowns by Jack Johnson, but I want to split it with you. Kind of like how me and Russ split that song. I think it'll be kind of cool because there's like it's a minor, you know, like a minor chord progression. I think there's some like really cool like pockets for ukulele solos in there. It's really nice.
We only know Jack Johnson songs that nobody knows.
Yeah, because same thing, you know, like throw a rock and someone's playing upside down or bubbly toes or what, you know, whatever. All the popular ones.
Pancakes.
Banana pancakes, exactly. Banana pancakes. That's the one.
Breakdown.
Breakdown. Or that Curious George one. Oh yeah, upside down. I already said it, I think. Yeah, you know. So yeah, Rodeo Clowns can be kind of cool. Because I was listening to it yesterday, like on the way to the gig. I'm like, this has potential. I kind of like this. But I would have to split it with Aaron. I think we don't have too much of those songs where we, you know, like we both of us are like lead vocals. Yeah. So look out for that. That might happen. That might not. Most likely not, but it might. You know, it might.
If it does, then we called it.
Yeah, we call it. You're hearing it right now.
You're Babe Ruth, right? Yeah. You're pointing out to the stands.
Yeah. And if we don't do it, it's like no, I meant like further.
It's like you go like this, and
2 years from now.
2 years from now.
Well, you go like this, and everybody claps. You're like, oh, he's gonna hit a home run, and then your finger kind of just drifts out. Like,
slider. Bucked it.
If I don't foul out, I'm pretty happy. So we'll go for a run there.
Anyway, yeah, sports, man. We know our sports guy.
Yeah.
That's go Lightning or Tampa Bay or whatever.
We love sports and we don't care who knows.
I did follow that a little bit. The Canadians and Tampa Bay Lightning I was like, oh, are the Canadians finally going to win one? Like, you know, win a Stanley Cup, and lo and behold, nope. 2-time champs, Tampa Bay. I was like, see, whenever I fall in love with something, I should just not watch. I'm always like the bad luck, you know. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll root for the underdog and stuff. And I always lose, guy.
Just wait for the season to end, right? And then you can binge it, and then it's like, yeah, they won, and it's because I didn't watch. So,
yeah, see. Let Canada win, man. Why don't you let Canada win every now and then? It's same. Then it's reversed when it's the Olympics. It's like, why don't you let US win? Canada wins it all the time.
Come on, we don't have as much. Of course, Canada wins. You guys have all the ice up there. We have only some ice down here.
Anyway, we're not trying to be sports guys because we're not. We're not sports guys. Anyway,
no, biggest sports guys. Okay.
Love the sport. Tennis. Congratulations to the person who beat Roger Federer because I was very heartbroken. Straight sets. Last time that happened was never. Anyway, now let's move on. I'm kind of bitter about that.
Simon asked, or he said, I replaced the high G string on a tenor uke with an acoustic guitar D string to convert it to low G tuning. I noticed the string now booms way louder than the others, even more than my other uke, also with a wound low G. Is there something about guitar strings in general that creates this effect, or is it just that particular string / brand?
Yeah. Okay. Well, you know, I don't want to jump into conclusions because what if it's like, you know, if it's a classical guitar, you know, like if it's a classical guitar with nylon strings on it and use the D on that classical guitar, it's a wound, but it's still nylon, then we're in business. We're okay, you know? But
you probably want to go on the lighter side of strings too. But
if it's like an acoustic, like steel string that is wound, and that's what you put on your ukulele, then we really got a problem on our hands. The ukulele is not meant for steel strings, so I'm gonna move forward. Moving forward, I'm gonna assume that it's an acoustic strings, and then I'll go
classical
back.
guitar string.
No, I'll talk about the acoustic string first, and then I'll backtrack, and then I'll talk about advice.
So
in this
what
scenario,
you're talking about is a steel string acoustic guitar
Yeah.
string that you put onto your ukulele.
It's no bueno. Like that's the ukulele is just not meant for that kind of tension. It's just not meant for that kind of string. So it's like a bad idea to put steel strings on your ukulele. I know some people are like, oh, I tried it, my uke's fine. Like it won't be like in a year or two, maybe even less. You know what I mean? Like it's definitely it's gonna ruin your uke.
Yeah, and we're just assuming too that this is just standard acoustic ukulele, right? Too, because other people will also say, "Oh, what about steel string ukuleles?"
Or solid body ukuleles.
Yes.
And it's like, because they're made for that specific type of string, but regular ukuleles, no.
Yeah, the tension is not meant for that. And the whole instrument is not meant for like steel strings. So if that is what you did, I would take it out like right away and replace it with with whatever was on there. Or if I'm guessing you're going for a low G, which then brings me to scenario B. Which scenario B is if you took a classical guitar D string and you put it on there, then the answer is yes. It is a little bit boomier because it's going to become a low G string. So the low G string on your ukulele, because it is thicker and because now it's a different material, there's a wound material around the nylon, it is going to sound boomier. It is going to sound louder than the rest of your strings. So. And I think we talked about this a couple of weeks back, where like the balance on it is not going to be what you expect, because that that wound string is going to sound different from your unwound strings of C, E, and A. Okay, now you can either like get used to that kind of balance and accept that that's what the ukulele is going to sound like, or just like how we talked about a couple of weeks ago, you can look for an unwound low G, because if your goal is to just have a low G on your instruments, that's you can easily fix that by just getting a low G instead of like hunting down acoustic strings and putting them on.
That's like our recommendation is to use ukulele strings for ukuleles.
But I know we're guilty of saying like, oh, I used to use this, or I used to experiment with guitar string, and I am, and I did, and I have, or I am experimenting with all kinds of strings and stuff, but never steel strings. That's just one thing that that I don't do with my uke. That's just gonna ruin your uke, and as far as like this on the safe side, just using, like Aaron said, using ukulele strings on an ukulele is just a lot safer, like because someone's already tried it, or someone's already kind of made the decision that these gauges work for that instrument. I think if you just kind of stick to this, to the safe choices of getting an ukulele, and there's wound ukulele like low G strings that you can get, and you don't have to turn to guitar strings to get. And there's curated guitar strings that are like made for ukulele, like Deodato Pro Artes. If you get a low G, those Pro Artes, that low G is a D string, just like how you did, for your ukulele. But that's already packaged as a uke. That's why like it's just safer to get an ukulele specific set of strings, or not set, but low G string, if that's what you're looking for. Unwound ones, you can try PhD strings. I think they have an unwound. I think I don't know if Living Water Strings has an unwound, but I have Worth also has an unwound string. So there's definitely some choices out there. I tried coming together with an unwound string for my string set, but we were just kind of running into all kinds of problems. It was just kind of like it's wobbly, and the tension, because the rest of the tension is so high on the C, E, and A, that like even if it was like normal tension, it would just still feel off. So the balance wasn't quite there, and that's why we didn't go for it. So we went with like the chocolate string, which is a nylon with plastic wound around it for mine, which is not too bad because it's not like super boomy, but it works. You can hear it in some of the YouTube videos that I've posted lately.
Because you mentioned that we would say like, oh, you know, we used to take guitar string sets and then like take some of the strings from one set and then take, you know, buy like 2 sets even to make like a high G string set just to get enough strings for them. But like we used to do that because like that's the only way to get those strings before.
And they were classical guitar string sets, never steel strings, guitar sets. Yeah.
So that it can be either. Did they specify? Or are they online? Are they chatting and stuff?
I don't think so.
No, it was a question from the forum.
Oh, okay.
Or comment in the forum.
Yeah. So, you know, if because they didn't specify if it was like a steel string or a nylon string, it's tough to answer this question. But we gave you the 2 different scenarios. You know.
Yeah, and I was saying too though, like that it was almost out of necessity that we used to use guitar packs, right? But like since then, string makers have like realized that like, oh, we should make string sets specifically for ukulele.
We already make this. We'll just repackage it. Yeah.
But like
so you
even
don't have to do that anymore.
Even then too, I was thinking like maybe this person, you know, they looked at an ukulele pack, they saw like the diameter of a low G, and they're like, oh, it's the same diameter as this G or D on my guitar strings. But that's, even though it's like the same thing there too, it can be two totally different things where just even though it has the same diameter, the tension can be different from one string to another.
So,
especially if it's a different material completely.
So you don't want to. That's why like even, you know, even if it is like a classical guitar string, it should be, it's safer than using a ukulele string, but just the safest to get good results is just use a ukulele set, right?
And then one thing that I noticed too, just like because we've been able to try so many different ukuleles over the years, like some of the ukuleles with the most volume or the most boomy tones are the ones that are built like right on the edge of exploding, you know, right? Like
the Taylor, it's like. It's really thin. It's
like, you know, the thicknesses are like right on the edge of like, you know, just collapsing into itself. But like you strum it once and it just like rings, you know. And so maybe that might be part of it, is like you put the wrong set of strings onto your ukulele and it's right on the edge of imploding. so it might sound great on that one string, but like probably might not be the best to keep that string on there because it may.
When I was talking, me and Aaron were talking about this earlier, and when I told him what this person asked and everything, I said like best case scenario, it does just sound boomier, your ukulele. Worst case scenario is your ukulele explodes. Like the neck will just pull off, right? It's like
now worth it, man.
And like in the early days of ukulele making, like a lot of the vintage ukuleles now, the reason why that they're so sought after are because like a lot of them got destroyed just over the years of just having that tension on the ukulele.
The bridges just ripping off.
Necks, kind of bridges like pop off, and it's just like it's because, you know, even with like these nylon strings or whatever catgut strings, you know, that they were using, it like it still was enough tension to like make the ukulele just like collapse in on itself. And probably it sounded great while it was playable, but over the long term, like, you know.
The ones that get sold for like a high price, right? It's usually because like when you look at where they kept it, the strings broke first before like the neck or the bridge. So it's still intact.
So it's a lucky thing, like, you know.
Yeah, you kind of have to like store. I mean, our friend, you know, our old good friend Greg, you know, bless his soul, like has a lot of like vintage and really good, nice ukuleles. He has like a Jake model when like they only made 50 of those or whatever. And he's like, and he showed me, I think it was like a coal loud, like that the bridge popped off or whatever. It was like, oh, it's because like, did you have it, you know, like tuned up, you know, like all the time? And he's like, yeah. And why wouldn't I? I was like, well, when you're not using it, you gotta loosen the strings so that it relieves the tension on that ukulele. So imagine, you know, like always being tense all the time, you know, like imagine a person being tense all the time. That person's gonna like sooner or later have a heart attack, you know, because that person's got too much, too much stress, too much tension or whatever. Exactly.
Tendon,
you know,
problems.
So it's the same exact thing, you know, you got to loosen the tension from that so that the wood can kind of relax, and you can always tune it back up to, you know, to note after, you know, if you want to pick it up and play, and detune it afterwards and put it away. If it's something that you're playing all the time, you can leave it, you know, you can't leave it in tune, because when you're strumming it, you're changing the tension of those strings every single time. It's not just a one constant pull, you know. It's not too bad. But yeah, like he learned pretty quick. He's like, okay, I'm not gonna do that anymore, because I think one of his ko'olaus like got ruined because of it. Yeah, man, he had some rare ukes. That guy had some rare ukuleles.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, so let's assume that it's a classical guitar string, nylon.
Okay.
And he asked like, why would it be more boomy, right, compared to like his other ukulele with just wound Low G too?
Well, like, you know, like I explained, it's a completely different material from the rest of your strings. So the rest of your strings are nylon, and that string is nylon, but it has, you know, like a plastic wound or some kind of wound material around it. Sometimes it's aluminum, you know. But if you're talking about just like a regular Low G string from a different company versus like a guitar one, maybe the guitar one that you got were meant for, you know, for a lower tension or a higher tension. There's all these, you know, there's all these factors that kind of come in, and by the time you also depending on your ukulele too, you know, like a low tension string is going to make a difference rather than a high tension string, but the same tension string might have a difference between like a soprano ukulele and a tenor ukulele, or even just like say like a ko aloha with like, you know, very minimal bracing versus like a kanilea that has a lot of bracing in it. There's so much factors, but as far as the simplest answer is probably because it's a completely different material from the rest of your strings. So it's going to boom a lot louder, and it's going to stand out from the other strings.
We had a friend who came in and he built ukuleles, right? And he came in to ask your opinion on the ukulele he built. And he had wound Low Gs on the ukuleles he built. And I remember you telling him that it's like, oh, try and put a high G on it, because if you have a Low G on it, like it's probably going to have, you know, like a louder sound, more projecting and stuff. So, you know, you just want to see what, like, almost what the bass line is with just like a high G instead.
Yeah. It's always good to, you know, like if it sounds good with a high G, it's gonna sound even better with a Low G, because you're gonna get those lows and booms and stuff, and a more like whole tone. But if you can do it with a high G, if you can get that same good, nice, crisp mids in your ukulele, then you know you got like something really special.
Yeah. It kind of, it's like I think it's like strings too, or like, you know, when you get into playing instruments, you get into like kind of fiddling with the parts of your instrument just to get the right sound. So it's like strings, right? Like you might like a certain string set on one ukulele versus another, and you might find that it's like, oh, I don't really like how boomy it is on this tenor ukulele, but I like it on this other ukulele instead, you know? So Low G, like, don't feel like you can't try it on all your ukuleles, but if you feel like, oh, it doesn't really, like, I don't really like playing it with the Low G, there's just something about the sound, like, that's kind of normal too, you know? It's not bad if you decide like, oh, this is my high G uke, this is my Low G uke too.
Yeah, with the Low G, I think it's one of those things where you don't actually want it to stand out very much, you know, because you are playing an ukulele, and so you kind of want it to still sound like an ukulele, and that's sort of what gets some people too, like they walk into like a guitar center or something, and then they tell the salesperson like, I want a ukulele, I want to see and try out all the ukuleles, and then they usually the guitar center spokes or the salesperson is more familiar with the guitars, and so like they sort of steer them towards like guitaleles or
sound,
like baritones, because like doesn't this sound better, and it's like that is
they'll start ripping on
has
it with
like
their
a
guitar riffs and stuff.
deeper, more richer sound. But like if you're looking for an ukulele, then it's not supposed to have that really deep sound to it. So
I heard an exact sale pitch where a guy was like, oh, check this, if you have this specific, it was a guitar, but it can kind of, I've heard this for ukulele too. If you have this specific guitar, you can use open tunings and listen to this listen to how good it sounds with open tuning. And that the people were like, oh yeah, I totally want to buy that guitar. I listened to that, I was like, that guitar, like, it's not bad, and it's not bad either open or, like standard tuning. The guy just like wowed them by like, and it does, like when you drop the tuning on a guitar, it makes the strings like, vibrate more, so it does sound louder and more like expansive, I guess. But like and same thing for ukulele too. I've seen salespeople like pick up a Low G and they're like, oh yeah, just listen to this compared to the high G, and you can totally tell that people are like, oh yeah,
it does sound
that sounds
more full,
that sounds better, like, and it's because like people, they're not used to actually like listening to the instrument, so they're probably like more used to just like, oh, that's louder equals better. That it's like a simple equation instead of like going like, I don't know, I don't really like the timbre of that, and the tone is so or whatever. So
it's hard to gauge.
We talked a lot about, I was gonna like earlier I was gonna switch off because I think our songs are due today. But then or do not. Okay, I mean, good, I guess. I had something ready just in case, so I was like gonna move on, but that's fine. But since we don't have that, it's not gonna be due next week then, because next week we have some special guests. I want to let people know about our special guests next week, so mark your calendars, because we had Andrew Bolino. We have Michael. No, did we have Jake before Mike? Yeah, we had Jake Shibabukuro.
Yep.
You guys thought we couldn't do any better than Jake, and then bam, we hit you with some, with some Mike Odo. And then we hit you with some Daniel Cummings after that. Oh man. So,
Daniel and Mark.
And Mark. Yeah. Double trouble.
Yeah.
It was awesome. It was awesome. That was the coolest episode ever. We're all wearing sunglasses. Cool glasses and stuff. So anyway, now, who could possibly top that? Like who in the ukulele world, who's the talk of the town right now? What is the hottest thing happening in ukulele? What do you think of the hottest thing? What is the trending topic ukulele wise, right? If we're talking Twitter, what is the trending topic, Kai?
I'm trying to
it's Cameron Maisel Chee.
It is the Ukulele Festival of Hawaii, which is happening July, I should know this, 18? Let's say 18. It's happening basically next weekend. So next week we're gonna have the festival organizers, directors. I forgot what their official title is, but basically they're the head honchos of the Ukulele Festival Hawaii. We're gonna have Craig, Chee, and Sarah Maisel joining us next week. Okay, so mark your calendars. Craig and Sarah are gonna be here next week. It's gonna be a fun time. I love Craig. I love Sarah. We're good friends. This can quickly turn into something like, we just talk story for an hour.
We were saving a question for Mike because it's a jazz question, but actually
Sarah Maisel. Sarah Maisel might be able to answer your question. See, so just because you waited, Uncle Kahai's got something good for you. He's gonna deliver. Okay. So yeah, Craig and Sarah, next week, Ukulele on the Ground podcast. Mark your calendars. Get your questions ready. So you can ask them questions about the Ukulele Festival. You can ask them questions about they've done it all, guys. Like they've toured all around the world. They've done ukulele cruises, ukulele tours, ukulele festivals, ukulele soirees, jamborees, jam sessions, whatever. Like I think they've done like retreats. Like they've done so much stuff that you can ask them seriously about anything. They've also helped produce people, help manage people, or at least help out other artists on how to get started, and how to start performing, and how to start teaching, and how to start putting together a workshop. Or they've done it all. Seriously, like Craig and Sarah are two of the most successful people in the ukulele world. So if you're trying to be a professional ukulele player, these are the two people that you should get to know at least. Like if you want to make it anywhere in the ukulele world, they're the people to go to. You know what I mean? Like they're the people to ask questions from. They're the people to consult. They're awesome. So this is big. This is huge. Yeah. Craig and Sarah are like the hottest things happening right now in ukulele. We got them, baby. Uncle Aldi booked it for next week, guys.
Even I was gonna say too, even if you don't want to get to a super high level and performing and doing all that stuff too, Craig and Sarah are great teachers too. So if you have even basic beginner questions of oh, how do I play this, or how do I do this, I'm sure they would have great insights into it.
Anything. I mean, we're going to be talking about the Ukulele Festival, but a big chunk of time you guys can just ask them whatever. I mean, we encourage it. We encourage you guys just barrage them with as much questions as possible, because they're super nice people, and they'd be more than happy to answer anything that you guys throw their way. But we'll definitely talk story, talk about our experiences, talk about our past, talk about some of the stuff that we've done, performances and whatnot. It's gonna be a good time. So I'm kind of excited about next week. Maybe Craig is probably going to bring up a certain tournament that I don't want to talk about it. It hurts, but at the same time, it makes me happy, because that's kind of how Craig got started. That's probably why he likes bringing it up so much, because of that one tournament. Craig's whole life turned upside down. Yeah, the backstory of the origins of not only Craig and Sarah, but Ukulele Underground and Craig.
Yeah, because we actually have backstories with both of them.
Yeah.
Pre touring career for both of them. And so we can dig into some of that.
Oh, that's why. I know they've been on our podcast before, right?
I think so.
Have they?
I think so. But back when we were at the other office, I think. Or maybe that was just a duos.
Yeah, we've done duos with them.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
duos and workshops with them.
This is exciting, because there's so much things that I want to 1 hour might not be enough. This might be a special 2-hour episode. Seriously. 1 hour for Craig, the other hour for Sarah, because we got so much stories, we got so much to talk about with those two. And I don't, unless you know us personally, nobody really knows the story of the backstory of the origins of Ukulele on the Ground and Craig and Sarah and stuff, which is pretty exciting to finally get to to tell on a podcast, because it's cool. It's a really cool story of a lot of hard work on Craig and Sarah's part, and how they became the phenomenal success that they are today, which is really, really cool. I mean, I'm not saying that hey, what was it for? No. They worked their butts off, and and we were and we're just stoked to be a part of that story. To have a little part of that story, and we finally can tell that story next week. So I'm very, very, very excited. But definitely send in your questions. We'll try to get to as much of those as possible. I've been waiting for this guest to come in to the Ukulele on the Ground podcast so we can talk. And there's some other guests that that I have in mind that I kind of want to talk about. The Jake episode was just let's just talk about old times, Jake. Seriously, just sit down. Don't worry about Kahai. Don't worry about his questions for you. Let's just talk about good old times, Jake. But no, it's I have a lot more of my ukulele buddies that I would love to bring into this podcast and just talk story with. I think we had Calais during the during the ukulele retreat, you know, when we talked and stuff.
Kalei and Corey come in.
Oh yeah, that's right. We did. Yeah. But you know, I want to get Kalei and Abe in for an episode, and just us three talking about like the original like Thailand Ukulele Festival. That'd be kind of like a dream episode for me. I've been a guest of John Yamasato's podcast, but I'd like to get him on. You know, although he played uke, you know, but he's primarily a guitar player. But I would like to hear his opinions on some stuff, and just lots of cool dream guests that I would like to have, and some cool guests that we've had that some people might not know about. Like we've had Danielle eat a sandwich. That was a cool episode. You guys should definitely check out. Dr. Trey was another like really cool episode. He's Jake's teacher, you know, and he's been teaching on Oahu for decades ukulele, so he knows his thing. Make sure you check out that episode. And
we had Mike Hind.
With Mike Hind. You know, in Bermuda doing gigs and stuff. So that was a really cool episode too. We had Taimani Gardner, you know, like that happened. And with James Hill, that also happened. That was really cool. So we have had some great episodes of guests that you guys can definitely check out. Now Kahai's gonna have to look at. Check out like James Hill episode.
He was just telling me about how he was hoping that this episode wouldn't have very many references, and so
well, there wasn't any until the end, you know.
So it's always the end.
Yeah, because it's like, you know, if you like crossover episodes with different ukulele players and stuff, we got tons of them. You can just check those out. But definitely those are, you know, a few of my favorites. Like ones with, you know, James and Taimane and Danielle and stuff and Mike. Those are cool, man. Yeah, so make sure you check those out.
And all of them are still doing fantastic things.
Yeah. All of them. Yeah. All of them.
Yeah, Danielle just did like the score for some kind of
a movie.
It was like either a movie or a series or something.
And she's like, I think she's starting to tour again too. You know, like she's looking for like house concerts to you know, to kind of do. I know like Taiman is doing amazing, you know, crazy things like with you know, with her show. I know she's been having fun doing YouTube videos also. That's kind of cool. Mike, I think Mike Hind is jamming again, like in Florida. He's you know, he's starting to gig.
Oh, he's in Florida?
No, not Florida. It's Bermuda.
Bermuda, yeah.
It's a skip away, right? Hop and skip away. But yeah, it's been cool. Also, you know, I want to get Dead Man's Uke on. That would be great. Yeah, they started jamming again because I think they took a break for a little while also. So lots of cool guests that I want to get for this show. Yeah.
Yes.
And some unnamed ones that I'm still waiting on a date to put them on, but you know, they're like so busy. And I'm not joking. They're super busy.
You can keep listing people, so I can find the links to everything.
Let's see, who else did we get? But yeah, we'll see you folks next time. Have a great one. Thank you so much. Next week, Craig and Sarah. We'll see you then.
Same day.
Yeah, same day, same time, same day. Yeah.
No, I was gonna say same day. The solo should come out on that.
Oh,
Thursday
awesome,
too.
Awesome. You know, like I don't want to say now. You're just putting pressure on yourself, which is cool. I like that. So Kai is 100% committed. Okay, but yeah, it should be fun. It's a fun solo for you guys to check out, so make sure you check those out. Tomorrow I'll see you for the Aloha Friday Live Jam, and of course, as per usual, after the Aloha Friday Live Jam, we have one-on-one coaching on or what's it called? Is that what it's called now? Live coaching here on Ukulele Landing. I'll get it one of these days, you know. I'll get our shows. Yeah, we'll see you folks later. Have a great one. Check out ukuleleontheground.com. Peace.